How do you see research collaboration evolving over the next 5 to 10 years?
Yeah, this is a dangerous question, and anything that I say is probably going to be wrong because I have no crystal ball. And there's a number of other people who work in this area who probably are a little bit more adept at making prognostications than I am. However, if I see some of the things that have actually been occurring, and maybe this is reflective of my own interest in terms of the kinds of research that I'm particularly interested in, I see that there's going to be more and more of a reliance on a variety of different mobile technologies. So there's this focus that we've got within the lab about dealing with anytime, anywhere learning is going to become more and more prominent. However, it's going to, I think, change radically from the large MOOCs, the massive open online courses that we're seeing today, which are very, very reliant upon essentially very old conceptions of what learning and teaching is all about, etc. In that there's a number of set forms that are used, and the communication is somewhat staid in that it relies to a large extent on emails, on chat lines and all those kinds of things. One of the advantages that we have is the ability to mix and match with the synchronous and the asynchronous tools that are available, and that seems to make all the difference in terms of the development of what I like to think about as community. So just over this past summer, I was at a conference in Europe, and many of the individuals there who were coming from a variety of different institutions across Europe were convinced, or are convinced, that true communities of practice, communities of learners, is not possible in a fully online program. And I think that we've got all kinds of evidence, both in the AEDT program and as well as in the MEd program, the MA program, that it is possible. It's just that you need to actually make sure that the supports that are required, the characteristics of authentic community, need to be supported within a variety of different kinds of tools. You can't just rely on a learning management system to be able to actually provide the kind of connections that people actually require. So having that synchronous set of tools in there where you can actually see each other, where you can hear each other talk, and you have the ability to make the very, very quick connections that oral communication allows, is very, very vital. However, you also need the asynchronous piece, because you have a depth of understanding and ability to reflect on what it is that you're actually trying to say with the asynchronous that doesn't actually occur as easily with oral conversation. You know, I've got the luxury here of being able to think about these questions ahead of time so that I can actually phrase what I'm actually thinking about. But normally in a conversation, if you're in a class or you're listening to what students are saying, and then you want to facilitate that conversation, so you have to come up with a question right off the bat that is going to be challenging and yet moving the students forward in some way. That's difficult to do in a synchronous environment. So having the asynchronous tools in behind gives you a little bit more time, a little bit more option to think about what it is that you're actually dealing with, and come up with a much more sophisticated kind of response than you can in the oral tradition. And so I'm interested in studying how does the synchronous and asynchronous, or the use of asynchronous and synchronous tools, allow us to actually build up this sense of community between individuals, so that at the end of the day, people will actually say, yeah, I've never been in the same physical space with these other people, but I feel that I know them very, very well, that I'm intimately involved in who they are and their kinds of experiences, so that the kind of conception that they'll have about their educational experiences in an online program will be to all to a large extent, indistinguishable from those who have had only a physically co-located, face-to-face kind of experience.
Wonderful. Thank you very much for your time.
You're welcome.